guys, and I I get pretty fired up about selling package deals. They're really just a game changer for your business. Um, at the end of the day, and this is one of the things that I think moved the needle the most for me the last couple of years. I think having a focus on package deals up until a couple of years ago, or I think having a focus on package deals the last 2 years, really in particular, has increased my average order the most. I started thinking about a lot of like the really solid shows that I had where I sold more than I normally would have, like a lot of like small little events that I would sell like 7 to 10 grand at versus like, 3 to 5K at. And it really came down to having like an ultimate or like a package deal at some point, like during the weekend. And if you're doing those consistently, that's huge. And what's cool is like you translate that into just big days at the fair, right? It's like we're used to having, the 5K days at a fair or whatever. Like we can turn those to 10K days really quickly with package deals. But it got me thinking like how can I focus on a package deal a day at the fairs and at my bigger events with that many people and that much opportunity in front of you. Like imagine what that would do for your shift average if you closed a package deal almost every shift. I think honestly, just making a few small tweaks to my approach and changing my mindset a little bit was what made the biggest difference, move the needle the most. So the first thing I want you guys to kind of ask yourself is what honestly is your mindset when it comes to package deals? Like, are you the person that, you're something that you're focused on? Is it something you're intentional about? Or are you the person that like, how to do it, but it just you kind of just let them fall in your lap? Maybe you never had one. You don't really think it's possible right now. Are package deals something that you make sure you promote every single time? Do you have that discipline yet? Right. Everyone thinks differently about package deals. And I think it really helps to have a mentality around creating them for yourselves and believing you could be selling more package deals. That's really it. It starts with belief. So when you really think about it, people who are buying full sets from us, a lot of them have more money to spend. And the only reason we don't sell them another like $1,000 plus package is their open-mindedness and how they're viewing everything else we make. I talk about open-mindedness a lot. You shouldn't be thinking that people don't have the capability to get package deals, because the truth is a lot of them do. So now we just need to do a better job as CSPs of creating that opportunity for them. So our job is to maximize every single interaction with a customer, right? It's what we've always been taught. So it's up to you to be in the right mental headspace when that package deal customer comes up to the booth and be thinking big. Seriously, think about if you just added a flatware chest or a cookware set or business gift or hunting package, a few gifts, a family program or accessory package, which by the way, there's so many different ways to sell an extra $1,000. It's awesome. If you just added that to one set you sold every day, it would skyrocket your year. It would skyrocket your fair season, your main events, whatever you're doing. A lot of us are selling, think about it, like a lot of us are selling so many sets in a day already. Like how many of those are you going to turn into a package deal because you've worked on your skill set and you're ready for it and you're excited about it, right? I pondered this a while ago, but I really was thinking like, what is really the difference between the best reps in the country versus the average reps? In my opinion, the best reps sell more to the customers who are already buying or were going to buy. Like, think about it. We've seen new reps work at the booth and it makes us cringe when we see a super qualified person come up to the booth, open to buying a set, and they sell like a 5-piece or a couple pieces. It's like the same exact thing here, guys. I feel like a lot of us just aren't selling package deals to the people that could buy them a lot of the time. So I just remind myself every day that my set sales are already out there. So how am I going to turn them into package deals? Your set sales are already out there. How are you going to turn them into package deals? Right? So a few things I do to kind of set the stage for this. Planting seeds during the approach is a huge deal. I don't think blindsiding customers with all of this other stuff we make after they get a set of knives is always the right way to go about it. The more people hear something, the more they start thinking about it. Right. So ask yourself, how can you tweak your approach a little bit to mention cookware, flatware, gifts multiple times without really necessarily going into selling it, but just planting that seed, right? And also your display speaks volumes. You should definitely have all that stuff out there. So at least they're seeing it and they're understanding that we do have more than just knives. And I'm all about talking about it without going into it. So that way, if it's something that they have interest in, they're priming themselves to have a conversation about it. So you should do a few things. See if you can mention the other programs we have 3 times throughout the approach. People need to hear things about 3 times for it to stick. So also, if they ask about it early, give them a push away and upsell it later, or offer to make them a package deal. It's like, oh, I didn't know you guys made flatware. Yeah, that's one of our hidden deals that we have. I can talk to you about that in a little bit. As far as your knives go, right? But I prefer a little push away on when they bring it up first, because you don't want to overcomplicate it and like make it complicated right away. So again, I think our displays are going to be really, really key for this. The booth needs to be set up to sell packages, period, end of story. The last year at events and service events, I switched over to just having like one display board out and mostly having everything be like package focused, making sure the cookware is together, flatware package together, hunting knife package together, etc. So I don't think the cookware should be scattered all over the booth. It needs to have its own space and its own area. I've heard John Clovey talk about like giving real estate to the most important things on your display, right? Like, why are you putting a set of kitchen tools out where if instead of a business gift, if you don't have enough space, like business gifts are going to generate so much more CPO. So we just need to set the booth up for a package focus, and that plants visual seeds for them, right? So having more for the customer to interact with, flatware chest and knife sets at the front of the table so they can play around with it. That piques more interest in everything as well. The question I tend to ask myself frequently is, how can I get more people thinking about packages ASAP in a dialogue, right? How can you get more people thinking about packages ASAP in your dialogue? So one of the keys to closing more package deals is giving them more reasons to buy now. Bundling should be your new favorite word when it comes to promoting package deals. Save money now, spend less later, makes sense in the long run, right? Save money now, spend less later, it makes sense in the long run. This is why cable internet companies sell so much, is they promote bundling all day long. So if you can get someone to see whatever they're adding is such a good deal by getting it with something else, they're going to go for it. And if they want it and they can afford it. So, someone I know literally just dropped like 15 grand on a Tony Robbins event instead of 10 grand, because they offered a 10K package with a 5K package, a 10K package for 5K on top of the other 10K package. And she was already buying it. She's like, well, I'm probably going to do this business mastery seminar at some point anyway. So why not? Right. And I'm like, it's really that simple. Like, people spend more money when the bundle is a good deal, So that's how our customers think at the booth. It really is. Usually people, when they spend a significant amount at the booth, they've already put a lot of emotional energy into buying that first thing. So price positioning the upsell is key for making it a no-brainer for them, right? Make it really simple. Promote the fact that it's going to be less energy and less of a process later. Rather than coming all the way back to the booth next year or playing phone tag to try to get the order placed, just do it now while they're in front of you. A lot of people that can afford to bundle deals, they value their time and their energy over their money, right? So for these people, you need to position the bundle deals as the most efficient way to get Cutco. It's the most efficient way to get Cutco. And of course, for the people who are just price shopping or it's a budget thing, hit the discount super hard, right? You should know how to read your customers there. So you should also get people excited about the idea that since they are able to split it up and they're already doing the 5Pay, like that just makes it total sense. You can pay blank for this later, or you can pay blank for it now, save blank, and get it all right away. It's going to be like Christmas when it shows up in the mail, right? That's the process. You can pay X amount on the 5Pay, or you can pay X amount for this later in full. You can pay X amount on the 5Pay for it now, save blank, and you're going to get it all right away. It'll be like Christmas when it comes in the mail, right? If the 5Pay was a big selling point last time, use it again the second time when you're upselling, right? You also need to make them feel really good about getting everything all at once. Make them feel like they're the smart Cutco customers, not like the ones that get it piece by piece or chunk by chunk and pay more than they need to over time. This is the smartest way to go about adding Cutco, right? People want to be smart. So let's talk about past customers here for a second. So with past customers, I like bringing up the programs right away and making them feel like these were made for them. A lot of people like going right into an ultimate upgrade, but with a lot of my past customers who are a little bit more open-minded, and I can kind of read that, I like to show the programs first. And if they don't seem excited about any of the other programs, by the way, I just pivot, right, and go right into an ultimate upgrade approach in the new knives, right? That's easy. But I think the power behind this is focusing on what's most important first, rather than trying to sell them something they aren't as interested in. There have been quite a few times where I would pitch an ultimate upgrade only to figure out later that they wanted flatware or that they wanted a gift for their son. And I really should have talked about family program or cookware or something first, right? And again, it takes being able to read, engage your customers, but a lot of you guys are already really good at that. I also love the approach of asking them which program they would be interested in looking at, because the magic words, guys, are tell me about blank. I'm telling you, as soon as a customer says, tell me about blank, they might as well just whip their credit card out and throw it at you. Like, you got them. So I want my customers to give me epic permission to sell them rather than pushing something on them, because it makes the closing process that much easier. So how can you elicit that response of like, tell me about your blank program, tell me about your blank, right? Also, let your past customers know that we aren't just a knife company anymore. We're a kitchen company, and most customers are working on filling out their kitchen with our products, right? You should be telling all your customers that. Remember that our past customers just think we sell knives a lot of the time. So you need to let them know what else we have every single time. We aren't here just to sell knives anymore. So now with new customers, a couple points here. With new customers, it comes down to putting more packages into our new customer script. You should mention kitchen or cookware and flatware multiple times. You know, I watched Burt Wicks sell a full set of cookware to somebody who didn't even own Cutco. One of the days I field trained with him at like a car show. I was like, dude, what just happened? So new customers don't just buy knives and are sometimes in the market for other stuff. I've actually sold a couple flatware chests to people who never heard of Cutco before. It's strange, but it happens. Most of the time, you're going to be selling knives. Like, we understand that, but you don't want to miss those other opportunities. I really love the idea of asking them if they're looking for basic, family, or complete set, or one of our bundles with cookware, flatware, or both. Right? Are you looking for more? Would you be more of a basic, family, or complete set type of household, or would you be looking for one or more our bundle deals with cookware, flatware, or both? Right? So this throws the idea out there, and it gives them the option to tell us to show them package deals rather than just limiting their options to only knives, right? Don't limit the options for your customers. So give you guys some verbiage here. So take some notes on this stuff and I can maybe send it out too. But for past customers, I've gotten a lot of this from Curtis, got to give credit where credit's due. One of the things I always say is, hey, just so you know, since you're here, Cutco changed a few things that we're doing. Since you're a past customer, is it okay if I kind of keep you up to speed? They're like, yeah, what's going on? I'm like, great. Now you're guaranteeing everything's still the same. We changed what we were doing when it came to our events, or at our events and our specials, when it came to packages and pricing. So what happens, a lot of our customers used to come to the booth, add an item or two. Cutco loves people like that because they spend a lot of money over time. So what we did is we developed some packages and programs for our customers to utilize so they can get everything they want from Cutco for a great price. Is it okay if I just give you a super quick update on the programs, right? What are you doing here? You're getting Epic permission to show them different packages and programs, and you're framing it as like, nobody buys a piece or two anymore. That's not smart, right? Like corporate loves people like that, but if it's in your best interest to get things in a package. So you said, hey, this is our Cutco. You should have your 10-second pitch for everything. This is our Cutco kitchen program. I love this because most of our customers don't know that Cutco isn't just a knife company. We're a kitchen company. This includes our waterless cookware, which is actually our original product. We were a cookware company before we were a knife company. It's healthier, faster, lasts you forever, just like your knives. Easy to use, easy to clean, and built like a tank. Also includes our Forever Flatware, which is one of our hidden deals because most people don't know that we make it, but it's one of the lowest corporate discounts I've seen on Cutco do on anything in 8 years here. It's beautiful stuff and you can use it every day, right? And then of course we have our kitchen gadgets and accessories program. Our most popular program is what we call our upgrade program. And this is what you really want to nail the upgrade program. This is really simple because all we do is we figure out what pieces you're wanting to add here at the booth. We add them to your collection you already have, and then we get you a new block so you can fit all your old knives and your new knives all together as one unit. That's what a lot of our customers do here at the show or do here at the fair. And then of course mentioned gifts. We also have our business gift program. If you run a business, we engrave the knives as gifts for clients, employees, or people who give you referrals. And then lastly, we have our family program, which is brand new. We designed this because we had a lot of people said they love giving Cutco as a gift because it lasts people forever. They use it every day. Problem was people were waiting for their parents to die to get their knives, which is terribly morbid and impractical. They always laugh at that. So we designed this so you can get the lowest pricing possible for our past customers on any sets for your children, friends, family, anyone who just has crappy knives, right? So again, whatever your 10, 15-second pitches and all these things, just run through them really quick. They've given you permission already to show them the different packages and programs. And then the question is, just out of curiosity, what would probably be the next program you guys would consider looking at, right? And what's going to be their response? Tell me about your blank program a lot of the time, right? And if they're like, well, I'm not sure, you go, hey, let me just give you a quick update on what's new for the knives. Boom, just go right into an ultimate upgrade approach, right? Pretty simple. And then, so for new customers, you want to tell them, hey, we're 100% American made. So there's no foreign products in any of our knives, cookware, flatware. They say our motto is we want you to get one good set of something for your kitchen and never buy it again. One good set of something for your kitchen and never buy it again. If anything, you know, when you're covering the guarantee, if anything stains, fades, chips, breaks, melts, cracks, rust, goes dull, etc., we replace it for you. And that goes for our flatware, cookware, knives, or anything with a Cutco name on it. And when I'm closing and stuff like that, I'm like, hey, some people are looking for more than just the, or when I'm explaining the different options, hey, some people are looking for more than just the knives, need our flatware, cookware, or a gift, or a gift as well. So we also have a bundle package where you can add any of those products to your knife set. So if you're looking for a good set today, would you be more in the market for like a basic family complete set or more of a bundle package, right? Or would you be more of a basic family complete set or more of a bundle package type of household, however you want to phrase it, right? So that's a little bit for new customers there. Of course, the verbiage is going to be different for everybody, but it's the same type of concept, right? When you're closing, what I typically use is I'll say, hey, what I see happen, this is like one of the most money transitions I've used. I got this from Jason a while ago, but what I see happen a lot of the time doing this for so many years is my customers, they'll get their set of knives and they'll come back next year. They're like, Matt, we love our knives. We cut ourselves like 10 times already. They're awesome. What else do you make? And then people see our cookware, flatware, family program, and they'll buy that. What a lot of people are doing now is they're actually bundling their packages together so they can save a ton of money in the long run. You know, just out of curiosity, did you know that we made blank, or to transition into whatever they might be interested in, right? But that's a good way to frame it. And, you know, just for fun, you always got to throw it just for fun. Just for fun, can I show you what it would look like to add that on, right? You don't have to get it if you don't want to, but I might as well tempt you since you're here, right? And I was like, hey, can I just for fun, just show you what it would look like to add that on? You can always tell me no, but at the end of the day, you might like what I have to show you, right? And then the other verbiage I use here. So at the end of the day, when you're closing, right? So at the end of the day, if you're probably going to get blank eventually anyways, you can swing the extra blank over the 5 months. It would probably make sense to add it on now with the bundle discount you're getting, but whatever you want to do is cool, right? Again, making it just makes sense for them. So I hope that helps a little bit. You should definitely use whatever works for you, but I've tried all this stuff. I've tried all this verbiage and it works. You know, since last year, or since the last couple of years that I've really focused on package deals, I think I've closed like 3 kitchens in the last maybe 6 months to a year. And then I've had tons of bundle deals at my shows. It's just been a really big game changer. But really think about what that can do for your business. Like, we're out here trying to have 4, 5, 6K days. It's like, imagine just having that on one order, right? So if you can take anything from this call, just realize that there's more package deals out there for us. And all we need to do is get better at promoting them and know how to sell them effectively. So that's all I got for you guys. I'll open it up for Q&A if we have time and you guys have any questions. So.
Yeah, totally. Appreciate it, Foss. If anyone wants to throw in one nugget that they got from Foss's talk, that would be great. Throw it in the chat. I definitely love that last line that you just said. Basically, if you're already getting this and you can afford the extra blank on a 5Pay, it just makes sense to do the bundle. Like that is huge. I'm definitely going to start using that. And then the other line that you said with past customers, since you are here, is it okay if I keep you up to speed on what we're doing? And it's like, well, yeah, sure. Because sometimes you get those past customers that are like, oh, just saying hi, bye. And then it's like, it's a good question to keep them at the booth. So appreciate it, Foss. Does anyone have any questions? We do have some time, as long as you do too, Matt.
I do.
Awesome. If anyone's got any questions, if you want to raise your hand, or Fonz, you got a question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, boss, man. That was awesome, man. That was absolute fire, man. Quick question on the family program when you're talking in your pitch about that program. If somebody was interested in it, what is in your head, or what are you kind of doing in your head as a deal on the family program? And I'll give you an example. Like, oftentimes I'll get to a point where I've kind of gone dirty and kind of gone, down and dirty on a set or whatever, and I feel good, and then I close it, and then I'll get that question, well, what if you do two? And I'm like, oh crap, I already went super low on my one set. Now I'm like, do I take more money off, or do I throw in extra stuff, or how do you frame it where you're not like doing it so, you're not cutting yourself off at the legs, on the first set, if they ask that question for the family program? What are you thinking?
Great question, dude. Great question. I think it comes down, first off, that my first thought when it came to that is you should be figuring out how many sets are in the market for earlier before you show your price. Because at the end of the day, if you're wondering what I do for pricing, I typically do 20% off the retail price. But I frame it like, hey, this is where we get you and I've changed my family program approach a little bit. That was a very quick one, but I'm telling people, hey, this is where we get you the lowest pricing possible on your second, third, fourth, fifth set of Cutco, whether it's for yourself for a second home, or for, your kids, friends, family, etc. So in a perfect world, how many sets of Cutco would you probably be looking at for yourself, friends, or family, right? And that just throws it, that way you can know exactly what they're looking to do. And I'll usually just drop the whole thing another 5% if they add on another set, maybe 10 if they really need it. And I still have wiggle room for it. But I'm typically doing, again, 20% off the retail pricing, maybe 25, and you got some wiggle room there. So, but that's usually what I do. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks.
I got a question. Can you hear me, Foss?
Yeah, go for it, Lucky.
Awesome. Thanks for that great talk, Fossils. And it was also great to see it when I went cross training in Arizona as well too, because I heard some of these things as well. So I wanted to ask you a specific verbiage question. You said during the talk, save money now. And then you said a second thing as well. And then you said save money in the long run. What was that second thing? Just curious.
It's spend less now, save more later. At the end of the day, it just makes sense. Let me see here. Yeah. So it's and I got that from Curtis, by the way. It's mostly just like, hey, say if you're spending less now, you're saving more later, right? And it gets people in the mindset of like delayed gratification, essentially.
Gotcha.
Save now, spend less later. It just makes sense in the long run. I'll throw that in there sometimes too.
Gotcha.
Hey, save more now, spend less later. It just makes sense in the long run.
Fire talk, Foss. Love that. A little bit of nuanced question. When you have that customer who is super excited to see all the new stuff and they're already interested in maybe a set, but they're kind of going around the table looking at everything, and how do you redirect them and regain control of this scenario? Because there's situations I think that we've all gone through where we're like, what just happened? Like they walk away to think about it and they never come back. But how do you regain control of like, oh, I'm interested in the flatware too, tell me about that? But you've already gone down the rabbit hole of a set or an upgrade or something. Like how do you do that?
That's a great question, because we've all run into that situation where the customer is all over the place and you're like, do I close on a bundle deal? Do I try and close on a set first? Do I do whatever? I think people, Seth always told me that a confused mind doesn't buy, right? You got to keep it simple. For me, how I've handled those situations is again, push away, plant the seed. Oh yeah, Cutco actually has a kitchen program where you can bundle all this stuff together if that's something you just want to outfit your whole kitchen. It's a really cool program that we do. By the way, as far as the knives go, because I know you said you could probably use a good set of knives, like would you be looking for something more basic or more like complete, right? It's just asking whatever question to bring them back to the knives a lot of the time, or bring them back to like simplicity. So like for me, like past customers with ultimate upgrades, I get the ultimate upgrades sold first, right? Last bundle deal I did pretty recently, really pretty good one, was ultimate upgrade with a galley and a showstopper on the family program plus gadgets, right? I showed the ultimate upgrade and I showed all the different programs. I could tell they were interested in family program. I could tell that they were interested in ultimate upgrade, and I sold the ultimate upgrade first. As soon as I knew that was sold and they were all in on that, that's when I kind of transitioned into, hey, let's talk about this family program here. And then I kind of bundled it all together, showed them the deal, and they went for it, right? But you got to focus on one thing at a time. And we know when something's sold a lot of the time too, before we even ask for the order. That's where you want to get them for those bundle deal people. It's like, they're like, yeah, we're all about the ultimate set, right? And you can upsell too. You can sell an ultimate and then upsell from there. If you can tell it's already done, this is how I've closed a lot of the kitchens that I did. You can tell the ultimate or whatever you're already selling, your first selling is already a done deal. Like put it off for a second, make sure the energy is there, that like you ask some confirmation questions that they're kind of in on that, and then you can show other stuff and close as a bundle. Whatever way you want to go about it, you got to read the customer, Does that help?
Yeah, man. I think one thing that I've learned too, with the push away at least, is like you said, you have to reel them back to what you're originally talking about. To say, are you not interested in the set? Are you more interested in the flatware? And then that they kind of redirect themselves to say, oh no, I am interested. Okay, well, let's figure that out real quick. I was wondering if that was something you would do, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I could see that working for sure, because people will just be like, oh no, like we're still looking at the knives or whatever. So I can see that working. I haven't tried it before.
Awesome. I think we have time for one more question if anyone would like to answer or ask a question.
Boss, I just wanted to say thank you for sharing the goods, man. Always awesome hearing from you, bro.
Appreciate y'all having me here, and honored to deliver the goods for you guys. Hope you guys crush it. Somebody got a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
Thank you, Sharon. I was curious because I feel like sometimes I don't do this a ton, but I think I could see it happening too, is like you get almost excited in the close when you have like that package deal in the you're like, oh, I potentially have this package deal. So what do you do maybe personally to stay cool, calm, and collected when you're closing on those?
People buy this all the time.
What's
Package deals, kitchens, they get closed all the time. It's just like any other sale. Like I treat every single one the same. Calm, cool, collected. I've done this a million times, right? And that's how and no matter how big my orders are, I've never, on the inside, I'm like, oh crap, shit, this is a little crazy, right? But on the outside, I'm like, yep, nope, this is how the program works. This is what you're looking at. This is what it costs. We split it up over 5 months, makes it really easy. If you can swing it, it's definitely the best bang for your buck. right? No matter what customer it is or how big of a deal it is, I just always, keep that emotional control. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, really excited. You're going to get all this stuff. It's just like, yeah, cool. This is the program. You're really smart for considering this, it's a very matter of fact. So just reminding yourself again, like people buy big packages all the time. Like it's not across the country. Like I was talking to somebody yesterday who, closed a 7,200 line one order. It's like Cutco Kitchen, their past customer. It's like, this is happening all the time. So, and just because it hasn't happened for you yet, or maybe it's only happened a couple times, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen more. So I remember when I closed my first kitchen, first full kitchen at the booth, was last year. And it was really interesting because, being here for 9-10 years, I felt like I was just so overdue for this because like, I know how to close a kitchen. I just never had the opportunity, and the opportunity finally presented itself. And it was just like, it was so smooth. It was so smooth. And I was like, I'm so glad that I put time and energy and work into like knowing how to handle deals like that, because I was ready and it was smooth. 7,000 CPO. Right. So mentally prepare yourself for those situations. So hopefully that helps.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Foss. I think that's all we have for time for questions, but appreciate you sharing the goods, man. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, definitely send them my way, and I can reach out to Matt as well and answer any other questions. And then Matt, if you also have notes for your talk, if you want to, I'll reach out to you after, but if you wouldn't mind sharing some of them, some of the verbiage that you use, that would be great.
For sure. Yeah. Just shoot me an email. So.
Okay. Appreciate it, man.
Cool. Guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all. Crush it.
Yeah.
Appreciate
it. Next up, we've got our very own Tara. So Tara has been on our team since March with the transition with Big Sky joining our big, massive team. And really, really enjoyed working with Tara. Just so you guys know, Tara is just about really close to $3 million in career sales. It's like 2.977 and a little higher than that with that order you got this morning. But best week ever is $30,506. Best day, not sure, but she is the consistency queen. If you haven't seen on the newsletter, she's like got every K Club record except for like one, I think, but I'm sure she'll have it by the end of the year, which is kind of nuts. And proudest Cutco achievement, breakout year in 2017, went from 168,000 to 228, hit Hall of Fame and the Rolex. And then education, every single day, Tara is learning more. I love that. Tara is a wife, mom of 7, grandma of 6. So she has a massive family. And she spends a lot of time with them too. If you are not friends with her on Facebook, she definitely brags about her family a ton. It's great. Biggest New Kids on the Block fan. She went to 5 concerts in 5 nights this year. That was right after I visited you guys out in Spokane, but she got to meet them. She had VIP tickets. She's completely obsessed with this band, which is great. I love it. And some hobbies that Tara has is, well, obviously family, travel, reading, running, and learning. You just ran a half marathon, right?
Yeah. Super
exciting. Love those. And then her best year, I believe this is your best year, but last year sold $645,000. And Tara is here to speak to us about how to have a successful service event. Take it.
Yay. For anybody that knows me, you'll know that I do not like giving talks. So we're just going to start with that and stop putting me on speaker view because I don't like to look at myself. So yes, I did run a half marathon. It was my 9th. Next year, I will do my 10th and retire out of the half marathon thing. So if anybody wants to come join me, yay me. Okay, so service events. I actually love service events. I believe that it's like such a new thing for us to get excited about because they're all Cutco owners. There's no cost to the owners. There's no chaos, no hassle and no pressure, but also no competition. So I love that. They're a lot less expensive than regular traditional events. And people are coming in there to buy Cutco, right? They're looking for new Cutco. They're looking, but there's nothing else for them to look at. So I love these. So they're already coming in. I mean, how many shows do you work where they're not coming in with the mindset to buy knives, right? But this, they're coming in. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I'm just going to give you a few things that I do for my service events. And then we'll, I guess, open it up to Q&A because I'm way better at Q&A than I am organizing all my thoughts. So just stay with me, squirrel. So number one is organization. It's so funny that I don't love to give talks because I don't like to do this, but I'm an organization guru. So that's my love language. I absolutely love to be organized. So for service events, I literally start planning out my service events at the end of every year and figuring out which events, where did I do them last year? Were they good? I track everything, you guys. So I work in Billings, Montana. We have figured out over the last couple of years that a service event in Billings works in May, but not in October. Everybody's out hunting. So we've tracked our numbers for a couple of years and figured that stuff out. So we organize by zip codes, by areas. I have a giant territory. So I travel a lot for service events. Again, another reason that they're great for me. So I recommend organizing by zip codes. My territory is probably different than a lot of your guys's. Maybe you guys have like bigger cities. I have like one big city in my whole territory, I think. And my big city isn't very big. So, but zip codes are really good. I usually query about 50 to 60 miles, unless I'm somewhere in Montana, then it's like 100 miles because people come from Wyoming and South Dakota into Billings. So it's random, but that's number one. And I put those all in my schedule. So it's part of my planning in November. I put all my big rocks in, and service events are big rocks. I know right when I'm going to be servicing all those places that I do every year. Then I look at scheduling. So for me, I like to fill my schedule. I start with every hour, and then we go back and fill at the halves. So once we've got every hour filled, then we go back and fill in the half hours. I use a personal assistant to make my calls. I don't use Calendly, Acuity, anything like that. I believe in the human touch. So we use an actual human to make our calls and set those appointments. So we start with every hour and then go every half hour. Maybe some people are better at 45 minutes. For me, the reason I do that is if I don't fill every half hour and I get an hour to sit there and chat with my clients, that's gold to me. That's the time that I get to visit. That's what I love about service events. And I'll get into that in another area, but I absolutely love to be able to do that. So, and that's the most efficient way, because if you do every half hour and then you have nobody scheduled from 1 to 3, you're going to like just pull your hair out, right? So I would rather have somebody coming in every hour and then go back and fill in the halves. So that works really well for me. And I can do it in a half an hour and not feel rushed and not. Now, if somebody has a full set or if they're bringing in another friend with them, they automatically get an hour and we don't fill in that half hour. We just make notes in our system. As far as setup goes, that's another thing of organization. So I have my service event kit. It looks a little different than my booth setup because I don't have to usually bring tables or things like that. So I've got it set out where this is my service event kit. I always bring my own 4-foot table that's raisable. I always bring that because it doesn't hurt my back as much when I'm sharpening to be up taller than down lower. So, and I don't sit when I sharpen. I don't sit ever, not at the booth, not anywhere. If you sit, you don't sell. So that's in my opinion. So I always bring a raised 4-foot table. And also I don't have a sharpener that I can hire. So I do all the sharpening myself. If you have somebody that you can hire for sharpening, kudos to you. in my area, we just don't have enough people. So I do all the sharpening and by myself. But I feel like that's a great thing because I can be sharpening while I'm chatting with the clients, and I can, talk to them about, hey, I see that you really love this knife because you've worn all the teeth off. It looks like a straight blade, and so you can really educate them on that as you're doing that. And then also always having your supplies. Obviously a huge thing. I make an order at least once a month on more supplies. I'm always ordering at least 4 AR tags at a time because I love the customer service behind that, where you can let your clients know in your area, at a booth, whatever, hey, I have a box that goes into the factory every couple of weeks at minimum. So if you ever have something broken, chipped, cracked, melted, you just need to send it back. Just let me know. I'm happy to take that and send it in for you. That's been a game changer because more people are calling me, hey, I broke a tip. Do you have a box going in? Yeah, absolutely. So it's just an extra added service for them. And then you always have the AR tags when you're at your events. I love having all of the supplies. It makes you look more professional. You can send your clients home with brand new sheaths if they need them for transport, because we don't want them cutting their fingers off after we've taken care of their knives. And some of their sheaths look awful. So I'm like, I'm gonna fix you here. I also, for part of my supplies, this year I invested a little bit. So for every single client I see, they get this cute little pink folder, because anybody that knows me knows I love pink. That's how I brand myself. So they get their little pink folder. It's literally nothing on there. No, they're not going to keep the actual folder, right? So I don't care. Logo, nothing. That doesn't matter to me. But what's inside of it does. And I love being able to hand this out. And the reason I started doing this was because when you think about, like, when you sit down with your insurance salesman, right? Or any kind, your doctor, anybody like that, and they give you paperwork, their professionalism is always in a folder, right? They always have something for you to take away. So I started doing this. It does cost me a little bit. Maybe some of you aren't to that level yet, but when you get there, this is amazing. So I always have a catalog in there. I have my business card in there. And I always tell them it's a current retail price catalog that's in there. So, and my info's on the back of it. A business card. I have a cute logoed sticker. I have my little guidebook here that I've had made from Squid Pixels, just talks about the names and uses of the main knives. So that way they're using the right tool for the right job. That's super important. And everybody has loved this. So if you don't have this, I highly recommend that. I also had Squid Pixels design this cute little, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a program checklist. That way I don't forget about all the different programs. So for me, it's a matter of saying, hey, one of the things that I'm doing this year is really going over all the different programs and options that Cutco has to offer, because a lot of people don't even realize all the things that we have. And you're going through your family program, personal gifts, business gifts, cookware. You know how many people don't even realize Cutco has cookware, right? That's amazing to me. So we get to talk to them about that. Flatware, accessories, outdoor, which is sporting and garden tools, which I've had people blown away at that fact. And then our partner products, our wellness mats, Utopian coffee. I've sold more coffee this year than I've ever sold since it came out. I'm like, if you just talk about it, people will buy it. It's crazy. I don't even drink coffee. I'm just, I just tell people I use it as a gift. $17. Why wouldn't you? So I have that in there, and it's a good checklist for me, but that goes home with them. So they always have it in front of them so that they can see that. And then I have what they check in with is my updated client data sheet. So I collect all their info, their birthday, their wedding anniversary. We send out birthday specials. So the birthday, I have so many birthdays now, whether they're military, how they prefer to communicate, what's next on their Cutco wish list, and then a little spot for referrals down at the bottom for 3, and they get a free gift if they write down 3 names for me. And then we talk about those names, obviously. Their free gift is literally a $5 Starbucks card that's sitting right next to me. So, and everybody loves free stuff. So it doesn't even matter. Give them a first aid kit. They'll love it. And then seriously, I've done that. It's fun. And then my testimonial sheets. I love Cutco because, and I have collected more testimonials. I literally use these so much. After I get these, I take pictures of them and send them over to my social media manager. She makes them prettier and puts them on my Facebook, which is awesome. And then I have them all hole punched in a binder. So they're always current. So those are the supplies that I have with me. The second thing I love about service events is education. I absolutely love the education, and I set it up when I'm talking to people at the booth, or my assistant talks to people on the phone about setting it up. People are like, service, what is this? Well, I like to explain to them what's actually going to happen at a service event, or when they bring their knives into my service center, which I'll talk to you about later, but that it's a full service. So we're going to sharpen everything that we can on site, send back anything that we deem needs to go back, and we're the experts, so we'll let you know. But we're also there to educate you. We want to make sure that you know about the knives that you have and what they should be used for, because a lot of times people will only have a cheese knife and they're using it on everything, and then they don't understand why all the teeth are gone. So we're here to make sure that you understand the tools that you have and what the appropriate things to use them on. And then we'll make some suggestions. We'll go over the guarantee, because a lot of times when people first buy the knives, all they see is the price. So they forget about all the amazing parts of the guarantee. So we're going to go over that with you. And then we'll make some suggestions and recommendations for you. That's literally how I set it up at the booth. People are like, what the heck? That's amazing. I'm like, yeah, I know. And also make sure to bring your credit card, the one with the most limit, because that's the one we're going to use when you come in. So you just have some fun with them, but then it's all about training the clients with that. So we've done a couple of service events in new areas, and it can either be a hit or a miss the first couple of years, right? While you're training your clients, because a lot of times when we first do these, people don't understand what the hell a service. Oh, sorry. I cuss like a sailor. They don't understand what a service event is actually for. So not only do you have to explain it ahead of time, but when they come in, you're going to have to kind of re-explain that and get them used to what it is. They don't really understand that they can buy stuff. They don't really understand that you're going to have everything there, right? So the first year it might be a miss, but don't give up on that first year in that area. You just have to train them. I'm going to use Great Falls, Montana as my example, because when I first started there, I think I sold on my first service event, it was super low. It was like $1,200 or something. And it was we'll see. And now I go back and I have to have 3 full days from 8:30 in the morning till 6 at night. Every half hour is slammed. And people come in with their list, and they come in with their credit card ready to buy. And sometimes they're bringing in their friends or telling their friends, oh yeah, my girl comes back every June, and it's always around the same time, because now I've trained them. This is when I come back. This is when I do it here. So, and it's non-negotiable for me in my service areas. Hey, we're not coming to that area until this time, but we come there every single year. So it's just a matter of training your clients. It's no different than, hey, I'm doing the Spokane Fair. It happens every year, right around this time, right? People expect it, they get used to it. It'll be no different on service events if you train them correctly. And I always set up the future events. It's kind of a cycle. So when I go to Great Falls, if that's not the time that they're ready to buy, hey, I'm going to be back at the fair at the end of July. So just make sure to bring, I'll have your wish list, but bring in anything else you want. And I always have fair specials, so we can always do it there. That's not a problem. And so then my fair gets to be bigger. And then when I'm at the fair, I'm like, oh yeah, I actually come back in the spring for the home show. And then in the home show, hey, I'm actually coming in June for a service event. So it's always a forward moving event at every single thing. Wherever I'm working, I can tell them when I'm going to be back in their area because I've already scheduled it. Relationships is one of the biggest things though, you guys. I absolutely love this. When I sit down with my clients, I want to hear their 30-second highlight reel. Tell me what I've missed. Tell me what's going on in your life. What's your exciting thing that's happening right now? Haven't seen you for a while. Is everybody healthy? How'd you make it through COVID? Like, tell me all your stuff, right? 30 seconds, because we're going to wrap it up. But 30 seconds is just what I say. It definitely isn't that. But I always have my computer out so I can pull up their info in Vast Action. And then I can talk to them about what's been on their wish list. I can update all their info right there and go, hey, this isn't the email that you wrote down. Is this email valid? I have 2 addresses in my system for you. What the heck? Do you live in 2 homes? Like, do we need more knives? What's happening there? So I take the time to update all of that in the system while I'm right there. So relationships are huge for me. And I actually had one client tell me that she learned more from me in the half an hour that I sat with her than she had in the 30 years she'd owned Cutco. Just because I took that time with her. She had no idea what the knives, she bought them from some college kid that ate peanut butter and top ramen and didn't even know what the heck the knives were, but she was like, I gotta support them, right? So she was just using the knives for whatever. So it's nice that we're the education crew, right? We're the ones that are gonna be there forever reps, if you will. So the last thing that I'll talk about is my service center, and everybody on here seems pretty high powered CSPs. Service center has been a game changer for me. So basically what my service center is I've had an office outside of my home for years. COVID happened and people wanted to put me on the back porch or, sharpening knives, and I was either freezing or sweating. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen anymore. And some of the houses I went into, I was like, I need like a hazmat suit, just to go in there. So I said, well, why don't I just have people come into my office? I've got this cute little space. And so people started coming in, and you know what? Nobody cared. Nobody cared that they had to bring their knives in. And then a year ago in January, this new space opened where I could have my private office, my assistant's office, and a big lobby area. It was actually an insurance salesman that lost his business to COVID. Bad for him, good for me. So I opened my new service center where I don't do in-home sharpenings anymore at all. Everybody brings their knives into me, and I turn all of these in as service events, because that is exactly what they are. I don't have to rent a hotel conference room in the city that I have the most clients in. It makes so much more sense. I pay rent once a month versus every day of use, right? And so I have people that just come in here, and it's no hassle, no pressure. I can still work. If you don't show up, I'm not mad at you because I'm still working. I'm on the phone. I'm doing all of my other things. So this has been a game changer. When I do go out of town though, I always work with the same hotel. That's part of the training in your clients, because I don't want them to show up at a different hotel every single time I'm in that area. So I always work with the same exact hotel so people know where we are every single time. But yes, I love my service center, Vern. I'm glad you opened one. And what I was going to say is, if you guys don't have the bandwidth of doing one by yourself, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever to pool together and split rent on a dedicated service center. This is like the game changer. You can have all my stuff is always set up. I never have to pack up. My sharpening table is there. Like, everything is just here. So then I just go, hey, I'm doing service events this day and this day. And it's a beautiful thing. And I've had so many people go, gosh, I didn't even know you had a place. Well, because nobody else has one. So I'm just reinventing the wheel here and getting creative. If COVID taught us nothing, it taught us that we needed to be more creative and use our time wisely, right? So that's what the service center has been. And I know that was totally all over the place, but the end. I can open it to questions now. This is why I'm never asked to speak nationally. I'd just be like, wah!
Hey, Tara, that was awesome. I definitely got a lot of nuggets from it. I've actually had the pleasure of visiting Tara's service center when I was out in Spokane running events training. It is amazing. So definitely highly recommend it. And yeah, I mean, it's, I love that you shared that you set up all your appointments on the hour and then you fill in the half hours. Cause yeah, there are some service events that I know I've run in the past, and it's, you know, I have like my morning jammed and then it's like a big wide open gap. And then I've got like 2 in the evening. It's like, cool. I'm sitting around waiting for 2 appointments. Obviously I get some work done, but yeah, I love that tip as well. And yeah, does anyone have questions for Tara?
Yeah, I got a couple quick ones. First, thanks again for this message. It was good. So give yourself more credit than you do. I think you're a great speaker.
Okay.
Put together. Speaks to your organization for sure. How much would you guess per unit that your folder costs? Like when you get it all together, how much would it cost just to put that folder together?
I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I like to spend the money. I don't track the money.
I hear you. I hear
My husband does all that.
you. Okay.
He just says, we're out of money. No, I'm kidding.
All right, that's fine. And then how many markets do you service regularly every year, would you say?
Well, so my territory is Eastern Washington, Idaho, Montana, the top portion of Wyoming, and Utah.
Okay.
I mean, I still have clients in Utah, so obviously I still service them down there. And in Montana, gosh, I do the big cities, and then we query 100 to 150 miles away. So I usually do like Billings, Great Falls, Missoula, Bozeman, and Kalispell at least once a year. Great Falls, I have to do 3 days over there. Most everywhere else, I believe in the 2-day rule. Bozeman is just 1 day because we're just gearing that area up. I live really close to northern Idaho, so I make those people drive over. They can drive the 20 minutes if they want their knives sharpened. But we do have a place that we can rent there. So some of the reps around here, I've worked that out so that they can rent a space over there. And then I go to southern Idaho multiple times a year.
Okay,
But
so that's,
Spokane obviously is where I'm at the most. But you know, I also do, one of the things that I've really worked hard at is like, so I have my hometown is 60 miles from here, little farmer community. So I go down there and do a 1-day service event every year, and I query all the county. And that is always good for $3 to $5 grand. And then I just started another little farming community where they rented the senior center to me for $45. And so I queried that it was amazing. But it was, and then the senior center bought knives from me for their cook. So, but we queried that little community of farmer towns. And so they all, you know, I gained a ton of new clients. And I don't remember what I sold, but it was a first year. And it was pretty good for the first year. One lady had a trimmer and she ended up, her husband's like, well, we got the money right now, so buy a homemaker. And I was like, cool. So it just really depends. I mean, service is part of my gig. I probably do more, I know I do way more service events than regular traditional events.
and are you visiting your market once a year, no matter what, or twice a year?
All the cities that I do, at least once a year. Yeah, because it's a big territory. So I will just make sure that they're 2 to 3 days, depending on the clients.
Cool, thanks.
Hey, Tara, I got
a question.
a handful of questions for you.
Aaron?
So how do you, first question, how do you decide which areas to service? Like, do you have a minimum number of clients kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just know where we've worked traditional events, and usually where you're working the traditional events, that's a great start to figure out where you have the most. I mean, if they're coming to an event there, then they're generally in that area that needs service. So that's kind of how we do it. And we usually give an area like at least 2 years to see if it's worth doing them there. Or if we need to just move it to another area, but yeah.
Okay, awesome. then how often do you market service events to each customer? Is it every single time? Is it like they'll get it once every 2 to 3 years?
Well, depending on the area, they get marketed every year. When I go to billings, every single billings client gets an email, but my assistant will go through and she will call anybody to begin with that hasn't been called or that didn't get service the last year to make sure that they get the first call. Unless you're blacklisted and you didn't show up, and then you're not the first one to call. Yes, I blacklist people. In Walla Walla, Washington, that's about 3.5 hours from me. We have to do those service events 2 days, twice a year we do. And so the people that get called in the spring and scheduled don't get a call in the fall. And I actually had to explain that to one of my clients because she's like, well, you were down here and I didn't get a call. And I was like, because you just came in 6 months ago, you don't need your knives sharpened that much. And I have a ton of other people, so I need to be able to, I'm only one person. Literally, I tell my clients that, look, I'm a one woman operation here. So, you got to work with me. I can't get to everybody, but everybody gets the option at least once a year to get their knife sharpened if they choose.
Awesome. And then my last question is, so if you are labeling like your service center as like service events, how often are you then like, I guess, scheduling your service center appointments, if that makes sense? Is it just like an ongoing, like one huge service event for the whole entire year, or?
No, it's so it just depends on my week, obviously. And so like if I'm working shows, I'm not going to be having any service in here. But so if it's like, say I just did one yesterday, so that was a scheduled service event, zero charge, obviously, but I've talked to events and they said, yeah, absolutely turn these all in as events, because this is no different than renting a space. You're just not charging yourself. And so like Monday, and then I have some on Friday. And what's interesting is like I have 5 on Friday after our CGC summit, but that's an event. So I'll do that. Now, if they're consecutive days, it'll be one event with 3 days in there. So, but I want to report every single one of them, because then I need to know when I go back and look at my numbers, I need to know, hey, was May even worth doing service in here? Did anybody show up? Like yesterday, like the sun came out for the first time in Washington in like a year. And so nobody showed up. I had one person show up. I was like, what the heck happened? Out of 5 people, everybody canceled. Everybody had something to do. I guess swimming pools were the thing yesterday. So, but you never know, but I didn't mind because I still sold over the phone. I was working, but yeah. And then I'll rent out my service event or my service center for other reps that are traveling up here and want to do some service. They can rent this for $75 a day versus $100 or $150 for a day and go set up everything. Hey, $75 a day and it's already set up for you.
Okay. So like, how I have my service centers, I just have like my schedule for the next like few months is on Calendly, and then customers just schedule basically whenever they want. So what would you recommend, like whenever, even if it's one person that pops up on my calendar for a certain day, should I just label that as a service event?
If it's just one person, I generally don't make the effort to make it, but all mine are in at the beginning of the month. I will send over to Nick and Caden. I will send over, hey, I'm doing a service event in my office this day, this day, this day, this day. These are the ones I want, and they'll list them out. And then I just have to tag them in the system. And I always put the date in front of like 7-Eleven Spokane service event. So that way they're easier to find when you're going through. Otherwise it looks crazy.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I have a quick question for you, Tara.
One second, Caden. I know
okay.
Lucky had a question. We're going to go to Lucky next, then we'll go to you, Caden. Okay.
Appreciate
Sounds
it.
good.
Hey Tara, appreciate the insight on the service events. Always great hearing you talk. I had a question about that trifold was that a quad fold that you had?
It's a trifold.
Trifold? Is that for like the names and uses and everything? That's something I can get from Squid Pixels, right?
Yeah, it's the Cutco Kitchen Guidebook. I think Squid Pixels and Vast Action make them, but
All right.
had it
Yeah,
made in pink.
yeah. So I can just, is it okay if I can email like Squid Pixels and then just ask for your model?
Yeah, you
All
can
right.
have access to anything Squid Pixels does for me. They do a lot of stuff for me.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks, Tara.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yep.
Awesome. Caden, what do you got?
All right. So when you say you're like selling over the phone, is that more just like check-ins you're doing with customers all the time, or obviously not always running a sale? So how do you know who to be calling when?
Well, I have a database and I'm a hybrid, so I have every layer of the business possible. So I don't do residential calls. My assistant does all of those. So I work my realtor business and my business gift layer during the times that I'm waiting. So there's always somebody to call. If you haven't ordered from me yet, you're probably getting a call, and then until you tell me no or you place an order. And then I have my realtor check-in calls where they're just, I know a lot of people call them happy client calls. I just call them check-in calls. And just right now is the best time, by the way, if you are on the CGC layer, to start calling and letting people know that this is halfway through the year. I'm here to be a resource to you to help you strategically plan the last half of your year. So let's grab 15 minutes and really just plan the second half of the year. If you're in the business gift layer, it's a great time to start calling people and say, talking about Christmas in July. Rob Robincheck does that. But I'm like, hey, let's check this off the list right now. So that way you can just focus on the business for the rest of the year and just enjoy everything that comes your way. It's my job to make sure that all my clients look like rock stars. It's my job for my residential clients to be taken care of. That's my job. And it's always, hey, I'm not here to get you what I need you to need. I'm here to help you get what you need. And it's my job to make sure that you have all the information to make the right purchase.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Tara. Anyone else have another question? We got time for one more if anyone wants to ask one more question.
Thanks for the fire message, Tara.
Thank you guys.
Awesome. Well, yeah, appreciate it, Tara. Yes, definitely give yourself more credit than you give, because that was a fire talk. Obviously, you got a lot of questions. That's usually a good sign. So appreciate you speaking to us. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions, you can always post in our group me. Obviously, Tara is part of our team too, so a little easier to get a hold of than some of our other guest speakers. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions for Tara, definitely put them in the group me, or you can find her contact info on our website too. Or feel free to text me and I can always reach out to her as well. Next we've got Luke Mills. He is actually currently, I think he just had a baby actually in the last couple of days. So he actually gave a recorded talk that we're going to be showing here. But those of you that don't know Luke Mills, he's top 100 all-time of all the Cutco reps. He's one of the co-founders of Vast Action Coaching in 2017. So he coaches with Josh Muller. Many of you are on that coaching program and, learn a lot from Luke. Luke's great. And then just got a little blurb from Luke. Luke is a family man who teaches others how to build sustainable businesses that support exciting lifestyles. Luke continues to top Cutco's annual producer list with over $3 million in career sales and over 4,000 client accounts. Luke co-founded, obviously, the coaching business. And then he's a 15-year track record with Cutco, partnered. He basically has partnered with Cutco with his strong desire to help others succeed. Makes him a leading resource in the entrepreneurial space. So yeah, Luke's great. So I'm going to show this recorded talk here. If you guys could just confirm that you can hear him, that would be great in the chat. Gonna do some little advanced sharing here.
Just make sure you also click share audio.
Yup. So can you all see my screen and the audio, or just the, oh wait, here we go. I got it. Thank you, Vern.
Thing that I heard recently, Roger posted that, you know, for the last 3 years, I think we've been promoting to our group that's been training with the sale promotional group, the piggyback approach. And if you haven't heard about the piggyback approach, this is essentially just giving your customers permission to keep adding to their order. It sounds something like this: Miss Jones, you're gonna love your stuff just like you always do. You're gonna love these new additions. By the way, this brings us to, and this is a great line I always like to use, X% of your way to the Cutco kitchen. Hey, this completes your ultimate set. Congratulations, you're now 25% of the way to the Cutco kitchen. How awesome does it feel to know you never have to worry about knives again? Okay, cool. Just so you know, this is gonna keep your account open for the next 30 to 60 days. And Cutco tends to be a pretty hot topic, as you got new stuff coming in the mail, you got gifts coming, you got old stuff getting sharpened coming back from the factory, whatever your situation is, right? So I just want to let you know, if something breaks, you need like a personally engraved like pocket knife or knife as a gift, you want to take care of any family program, you just want to throw out the old pots and pans and start over with Cutco, whatever you need, you're pretty much locked in to this order savings for the next 60 days. All you would need to do is just text me. Just giving your customers permission to do this, you will just get orders trickling in more and more. It's amazing how it works. Last year, I had entire cookware sets that were just piggyback. Just, hey, you know what? My husband started cussing out the fry pan. I didn't think this was the year, but we're going to make it work. Just go ahead, and you said we could piggyback it, so let's just go ahead and do it. I was like, let's do it. Let's go. This morning, I got a piggyback for 4 table knives. Yesterday, I got a piggyback for a butcher knife. They're not always going to be the biggest, craziest orders, but I'm going to take 100 CPO here, 400 CPO there, like for saying a 30-second statement, just giving someone permission to keep ordering from me. Roger, I promised you I'd give you a piggyback 2.0. So I'll share the exact script with what the piggyback approach looks like when I send this to Matt and Brian to share with you guys. But piggyback 2.0 has gotten way more systematized, and it's grown a lot more in traction when we bring in, depending if you run a 30-day or a 60-day, what I found out through experience is it really doesn't matter what you say. But anyway, what we've been doing is a 29th day or 59th day piggyback reminder text. And this is something that you can have an assistant do through texting base. This is something that you could do with pretty little effort. But here's the thing. Essentially, having a trigger in your schedule or a follow-up from your assistants in place that texts your customers. Hey, Brent, I hope you're enjoying the new Cutco editions and still have all your fingers, you know, haha, whatever, you know. Just a heads up that tomorrow is the last day that you can add Cutco to your last order by piggybacking the blank percent that you locked in from your order recently. Let me know if you want to knock out any gifts or anything else you're going to eventually get for your own Cutco kitchen. Either way, I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing day. Cool Hand Luke, mycutcorep.com/Luke Mills. So now we have like a last chance for the piggybacking, which, by the way, we've been averaging about 15 to 20% of people adding onto their piggybacks, even with upserves taking place on their orders. So I'll get that script over to you guys. You can turn that into a call approach. You guys can turn that into a text approach. You can turn that into an email trigger campaign. It doesn't matter. If someone does reorder with me, I tell them it restarts their piggyback timeline. So sometimes they just keep rolling in. But essentially, I'm okay if my customers order with me 3 or 4 times a year. I'm totally okay with that. I would much rather them have me consistently top of mind, consistently adding to the collection, consistently taking care of their gifts for them and their family, than doing it only once every couple of years, or only when I'm in front of them, or only when I see him at a show, or only when I'm doing a service call. Couple other cool things here for you guys. When it comes to closing the orders over the phone, one thing that's really important is to stop overthinking it. One of the biggest concerns that I consistently hear year after year, even by Hall of Fame Cutco reps, is I just don't know how I should be selling over the phone. Guys, realize that sales is sales is sales is sales. It doesn't matter if you're at a service call. It doesn't matter if you're at a service event in a hotel room. It doesn't matter if you're at a booth. It doesn't matter if you're over the phone. It's the same stinking thing. If you're having trouble with anything, like anything in particular, it is possible that you've become like, maybe just take note of, hey, it's possible that I need to get off of selling. Like if you have a trouble with the upgrade, stop trying to sell pieces and start learning how to sell on the concept of an upgrade, right? I'll give you guys some examples here in a little bit, but one of my favorite closing statements over the phone is this: hey, just so you know, Cutco is really incentivizing people taking action now before the prices go back up. It's just a really good adding urgency, and I really like to just call this out. I say this all the time, by the way, at service events. I say it at service calls. I go, by the way, it's up to you whether you add or not, but Cutco's really incentivizing people who take action now. And it just kind of brings that urgency kind of full frontal on you. When it comes to value building, this is something that's been passed around the Cutco bandwagon for a little while. I think I actually picked this up from one of Matt's notes, probably got it from someone else, but either way, maybe I'll just give my credit to Matt. But when it comes to value building, one of my favorite like sales lines is just, hey, this package is designed to help you save more now and spend less later on the items that we both know that you're eventually going to get at some point anyway. Hey, whether you do just this pieces or whether you do the package, I just want to let you know that this package is designed to help save you more money now and spend less later on the Cutco we both know you're going to eventually get at some point anyway. All right, let's talk about upserving. This is a really big deal, and this actually was one of the biggest things that took me from like maybe a $250 average order to over 400. I'm right now sitting at maybe 460 over my last 3 sales, my last like $110,000 over the phone with customers at about 460 average order. I'd like to get that higher, but we're working on it. But one of the biggest things is the commitment to upserving. So what's really cool about the upserving is that the bigger the vision, or I'll come into the verbiage in just a moment, but to come full circle on where we started, am I thinking big enough? Do I have a customer like experience process like clearly defined? And if you're not confident about your Cutco kitchen like vision for your customers, if you're not confident about your customers being able to turn Cutco into the most practical gifts that are the like easiest gift resource for them, like if you're not building up these visions, then your customers are going to get lost in as to how they should go about their kitchen, or even worse, they think of you as a transaction versus a relationship. Oh, thank you for my knife set. Never talk to you again. Why are you emailing me? Why are you texting me? Oh, I already bought cookware. Yeah, I got Salad Master. Oh, I didn't know Cutco had pots and pans. Like freaking, you want to stab yourself. So what is your big picture vision and how are you communicating it to your clients? Just so you guys know, this is not a part of Vast Action I'm involved in, but I highly recommend investing in the Cutco Quad Folds. Every single customer gets this from me. I sent these out instead of catalogs this year. This actually has about 97% of our product line. So it doesn't have the wellness mats in there and a couple other things, but it actually has color-coded everything. It's a great inventory list when I work with people on service calls. It's a good bird eye view for what your customers work towards. So if your customers don't know that you have cookware, it's going to be a lot harder to sell them on cookware during an upserve versus if they've been familiar with it because you've talked about it on every single time you've talked to them It's kind of hard to close on extra, $1, $2, $3,000 family program set if that's not a problem that they're calling you to solve, right? So just remember that every conversation that you have can build you closer and build your wish list. And then your sale promotions can give you the perfect opportunity to add that layer of urgency to close on the wish list. So let's just say someone's calling you from pieces to packages. There's two really important questions I ask every single time, for the most part. Number one, hey, are we shopping for gifts or are we shopping for you? This is really important to know who the focus of the recipient is. Or you could say, hey, we're shopping for gifts, shopping for you, or a little bit of both. This is a great way to understand what they're trying to accomplish. The next question is, do you know what you're looking for, or would you like some suggestions? This is really important because it does a couple of things. One, it sets you up as the professional, the person that can give suggestions. Number two, this is helping you get to the point of where are you at. You might know who you want to gift, but you might not know what to gift. Oh, you're calling me for a very specific reason. Okay, cool. Whatever it is, connect with them where they're at and serve them. If they're calling you, hey, hey Marissa, I'm calling you. I want these 4 table knives. I want them in black. I want them on this card, and I want them shipped to this address. The answer is yes, freaking sir. Let's go, right? So take the order for what they're calling you for. This is not the time to upserve, okay? You will know that the time to upserve is when? After you get the credit card, baby. That's when the games begin. That's when that's where the $500+ average order comes into play. This is where the upserve happens. This is where it's powerful. So let's just say someone is calling you for items, okay? In your head, and you guys should write this down, and it'd be a good workshop for you. Anytime someone calls you for an order, understanding what the purpose of that order is should give you an insight as to which package or program you should be promoting in your upserve. Okay, so let's just real quick roll through this, right? If someone's calling me for 4-piece table knife set for their son, and it's their first time gifting their son, ding, ding, your automatic mindset should be like, freaking family program, right? Oh, you're adding a butcher knife and a vegetable knife to your own collection. What's the program that we need to be setting off in our head, right? It's like chess. You want to be a couple steps ahead. It's like when you're at the booth, like you might be doing a demo, but you already know based off of the next 5 things you and the customer say, you know exactly what you need to do to keep walking them closer to the sale. Can you get this good with past customers over the phone, right? So of course, that's going to be an upgrade. Can you do this with our business gift program? Can you do this with, hey, if they're buying a set of super shears for their friend for a Christmas gift, what program? Hey, this is our gifting program. We do 15% off at 5 gifts and 20% off at 10 gifts, and we allow you to mix and match. So you have gifts on hand, ready to go, so you can maximize your savings and remove shipping costs. Ms. Jones, it seems like you really like the idea of gifting these super shears, this cheese knife, this whatever, 4-pack of table knives. Would it be safe to say that in the next 1 to 3 years that you could see another gifting occasion that you would also give this as a gift? Cool, right? So just think about, if someone's ordering a griddle, if someone's calling you for steak knives, hey, what do you got for steak knives? If you are not promoting a stainless flatware chest as the package that they need to be open to considering, you are losing out on CPO. So think about the different packages and programs that everyone's going to fit into, and realize that you're doing them a favor by helping them walk through this. Guys, people will call me for 4-pack of table knives, and it'll turn into a signature plus steak knives. We're talking 140 CPO to over 2,400 CPO. This happens every year, all the time. And why does it happen? It happens because they call me, we go through this process, and then we share with them how to make their lives easier moving forward, right? Through the packages and programs. And at the end, they're so grateful. They're so thankful. Can you get to that point where people are thanking you for allowing them to spend more money with you? That's what we're talking about. So I'll share again this verbiage with you guys, but essentially, right, whatever they're calling a place to order, great. Right, you get to the point where like, you know what they're ordering, let's take care of it, let's hammer this out now, great. You're gonna love them. Get the card, confirm the address, the colors, whatever. Now where do we go? Hey, but and this is all you need to do. That program you were thinking about, this is where it comes into play. By the way, are you familiar with the blank program? You don't sell the program, don't pitch the program. It's that simple question. Oh, Brett, you're gonna love those new additions onto your collection today. Did you want to put on this card, this address? Awesome, cool. Okay, sweet. Looks like everything is going through really well right now. By the way, just so I know, Brett, are you familiar with our upgrade program? No. Well, it's our program that's actually the pieces that you're ordering today actually come in, and that program is designed to maximize your value when you're adding items onto your set while removing all the hassles that our customers have over time of trying to do the same thing. Can I take a second and just share with you how that program works so that you can decide what is the best option for you? This is it. And that basically can you pique interest and get permission? And when you're planting the seeds for these programs, don't just sell them on the program, lean into the challenges. Hey, Ms. Jones. Hey, Ms. Jones. Hey, Brett, are you familiar with our family? Are you familiar with our upgrade program? No, you're not? Okay, well, do you like the idea of having all your cut code together in one like storage block place, having all your tools in one toolbox? Okay, well then you should at least hear how the upgrade program works so that you can make the best decision for you. Does that sound good? Okay, cool, right? It's just like, hey, I noticed that you're set, like you're overflowing your block already with these extra pieces. Where are they gonna sleep at night? Oh, you don't know? Like, where are you gonna store them? Okay, well, just so you know, our upgrade program actually comes with the storage block, and it actually helps save you the money on the items that you probably eventually add over the next year or two while properly storing your whole collection together. Can I take a second and just share that with you real quick? So you guys can see how you can start plugging and playing these different packages and programs. And by getting that permission, right, selling them on how it does work through good quality questions, but also leading into the challenges if they don't. Hey, Miss Jones, you're really smart for buying these 4 table knives for your daughter. She's gonna love them for the rest of her life. My mom got hers right after she got married with her wedding money, and it's one of the only things that they still have from that wedding, from that time together, besides my dad. And we're lucky that she still had, or that he still has her, right? But some of the challenges moving forward are that you get all these great pieces for your kids, and they get lost in the drawer because they don't have a proper place to store them. Plus, now both you and I are trying to keep track of what we did and didn't get them. So what we did was we developed a family program that comes with a couple of our customer favorite options to solve all these problems. Yes, it's a bigger package, but it's also a bigger saving. And what it allows you to do is either give one legacy gift, or now instead of having to play phone tag with me every year, you have all of your gifts for the next 2, 3, 5 years already taken care of confidently, and you're not paying more in the long run and having to pay and deal with shipping every single time, right? It's like, how can you be good at planning and implementing each of these different programs and systems? It's like, hey, if you see yourself, like, what's that you eventually see yourself getting them? A lot of people like the size that they have or around there compared to what you have. Would you do something like that, smaller, or would you just kind of do what everyone would love to give their kids? And that's the complete set, right? So find out what they like. Okay, cool. Well, hey, it's up to you what you do, but just so you know, here's what comes with that program. Here's how that program works. Just out of curiosity, over the next 3 to 5 years, do you see yourself adding on to your kids' collection? Okay, cool. Then this would, as your Cutco guy, I just want to let you know, this is going to be the best bang for your buck. This is me going to work for you, Ms. Jones. This is why you work with me, is to have access to these programs, right? So I got to let you know, if you can swing it, this becomes a no-brainer. But I just got to ask, is $457 for a couple months something that you could swing in the budget? Or is that going to be pushing the envelope? And this is where you can get, oh, you can't swing it? Awesome. It just makes like honestly, if you can swing it, it just makes sense, right? So you guys can get the idea here of how these different programs and packages and things work. Just out of curiosity here, because I want to be respectful for you guys' time, and I know we're at maybe a little bit over the 30-minute mark. Matt, how are we doing on time here, bud?
Dude, you're good. Keep ripping it for as long as you want.
So I think that this is a really good place to actually pause on the content. I'll make sure to send over this verbiage over to you guys that you can share with the team. But if there is any questions, I think that this would be a really good place to insert that.
Okay. That was fire. Go ahead and share any nuggets that you may have got from that talk. That would be great. And then, yeah, so obviously, sorry, I forgot to say what his talk was about, but it was the piggybacking method for approach. So basically it's a good way to upsell. So imagine all of these orders that we get at State Fair, these hundreds of orders. Imagine if we sent that text like, hey, I know you just ordered at State Fair. Just wanted to let you know that we still have access to, getting 15 to 20% off if there's anything you wanted to add to your last order. Was there anything that you thought of? And imagine, and if they're closing 15 to 20%, that turns, last year we had like 600 orders at Wisconsin State Fair. That is so much more CPO that we could add to the fair total and into really our own totals, which is great. So, great nugget. And we do have the recording. If you do want to watch it, so you can script out stuff, just let me know. Lastly, I just wanted to give a couple team updates here. First off, for anyone that is working Wisconsin State Fair, if this is your first year, or if you've been there many years, this is probably just a good reminder. So just so you know, at Wisconsin State Fair, everything has to be under plexiglass. We do have essentially everybody, and then Seth, if you could just keep letting people in if they, lost service and trying to jump back on, that'd be great. So everything's got to be under plexiglass. If you are a guest or you're not there for 5+ days, all your displays are going to be there. You don't have to worry about anything. Just bring your gadgets, knives, and this is really for any fair. If you're working Missouri or Sandwich Fair, you want to bring your full display. So if you're using boards, sets, flatware, anything like that, make sure you bring your full display. We'll figure out tables, and I'll be in contact with you guys as we get closer to the fair. But for Wisconsin, everything's got to be under plexi. In the expo, there is no cookware that can be displayed. However, in our outdoor booth in the Mile Marketplace, we can have a full set of cookware, which is exciting. We haven't had cookware in like 10 years that we've been able to display. So this is exciting. This is, great movement towards being able to have cookware in the booth, which is exciting. Something that is good to keep in mind is this is only at Wisconsin State Fair. If you have a customer that wants to see an outdoor hunting knife, whether it's a pocket knife, any of the hunting knives, a K-bar, anything, you cannot physically hand it to the customer. So this is just a rare rule that we have to follow and abide by. If you hand it to a customer completely, they will kick you out of the fair. Like, they take it that seriously. So if you are working Wisconsin, do not hand any outdoor knives to customers. You can hand them a cleaver, but you cannot hand them a fillet knife or a pocket knife or anything like that. If they want to feel what the handle feels like, they can feel it, but you have to have one hand on the knife. So you have to be holding the knife as they feel it. They actually send security guards around the fair and test our reps every single year. So just keep that in mind. So outdoor knives, just don't hand them to customers unless they want to feel the handle or something. Usually what we do with the fillet knife is we just take the blade out and handle them the grip or the handle so they can feel it. That's what I would recommend doing. Any kitchen knives, Will, I saw you ask. Yes, you can hand customers kitchen knives. That is not an issue. But yeah, if you are using boards, I know many of us do at Wisconsin State Fair. The boards need to be covered completely. All the sets need to be covered completely. No, you can't put your business gift out front uncovered. It has to be in back. You can show it to customers and everything, but if you want it displayed, it has to be underneath something that does not allow the public to touch the knife. Does anyone have any questions about that?
I have a question about the plexi boards and plexi glasses. Would
Yeah.
those be provided for all the 3 booths for us, or do we have to bring it?
So lucky, since you're working majority of the fair, we'll probably need yours. But I will be reaching out to all the, people that are working, more than 5 days, most likely, if what we need from you for display.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll send an email or reach out to you via text. Josh, you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, it was more an idea. And I know you guys have handled this before, but is it possible to even ask Dave Bush if he can get like some of the hunting knives just to handle for us? Right, without a blade.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I've never thought about that, but yeah, I can definitely, reach out to Dave. I don't know. It might be too late at this point, but yeah, I'll definitely reach out.
Yeah, just an idea.
Can we give them product? Like if we have ice cream scoops or, Cutco knives or whatever there as like promo, just our own personal promo, can we give that to them at the fair?
Appreciate you asking that, Burns. Yeah, that's another thing. You cannot hand out any product. I don't care if it's a cutting board. Do not hand any customers product. So if you have any promo product, especially the promo product that y'all just recently bought from me, if you, are on this call essentially for a state fair call, yeah, you can't hand out any of that stuff. It's only, if you do want to use it, you definitely can. It just has to be shipped. So invest in a lot of padded envelopes. They work great. So yeah, so peelers, can openers, even though they don't have an edge on, just don't hand anything out. They don't want any knives walking around the fair. Because yes, sometimes there's fights at night. So outside the expo, not in the expo, but it's a little crazy at night.
Don't want anyone
any product. Tuck, do you have a question, comment?
I was just gonna make a joke. I said, don't want anyone to get their eye gouged out with an ice cream scoop.
Yeah, for sure. Any other
Yeah, are they really touchy about like, if we're displaying knives like on a cutting board to show what comes in a certain thing, like, is that going to be okay? Or do we have to tell our customers, sorry, we can't take the knives out of the boards?
You can definitely take them out of the boards, but your customers can't. Okay. So you have to be the person taking the knives out. So don't if you have a customer, don't just be like, okay, we can have all the plexi off now and everyone can touch any knife they want. It's nothing like that. So you have to be the one that takes stuff out of the display. But yeah, if you're laying some knives out on the cutting board, typically have not had an issue. We did have one issue with one security guard last year at our booth in 1300. But it was resolved pretty quick. But yeah, so, and then if security does approach you about something, just listen to them. Don't get in an argument with them. Literally just say, oh, our coordinator's in booth 1300. If you want to go talk to him about it, that'd be great. That's the best way to handle anything. And then they'll come to me and yell at me or say what they need to say. And I'll be nice to them and then they'll move on. So.
Yeah. Well, can I add something to that?
Yep.
I think I was actually the person that was being talked to last year. I would just be careful about, I think I was like an upgrade and I had like every single piece out like on the board. So I would just say, be careful about putting, every single knife out and making a mess. If you want to have 5 knives out and, the other 4 under boards or something like that, it's probably more safer to do things like that, or at least have them more towards yourself than more towards the customer, just so that, when people are walking by, it's not like, all right, there's knives everywhere. The customer's right next to them, just to be more safe than sorry. So
appreciate it, Kevin.
Keep it clean.
And you said no business gifts like in front, right?
Correct, unless you have it covered with plexiglass. So same as your burn, it's the same rules that we've always had. So everything that from previous years, it's all the same. Any other questions?
I do not have plexiglass. Is that something that I'll need to get? I think I'm working 3 days.
Since you're only there for a few days, you'll be fine. We'll have it. We'll be able to supply that for you. So.
Yep.
Awesome.
I was gonna ask another question if possible.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably gonna get to this, but I think every day don't we have to like bring like a ticket in or something? Like, am I right?
Yeah. So yeah, you'll have to buy tickets. If you would like me to purchase your tickets ahead of time, just let me know. And then, so yeah, for setup and all that stuff, I'll be sending an email within the next couple days here. And then, yeah, if you could just make sure you reply. The other thing too, I just want to point out, especially the reason we had Tara talk about service events is obviously I did send out that Google form for anyone that was interested in working a service event. It's not required, but it's definitely recommended. If you have not filled out that form, if you could please do that ASAP, that would be great. And that is for anyone that's working, Wisconsin. For Missouri and Sandwich, we are planning on doing some service events too. So if you are interested, please email me and let me know. We can get all those booked for you. You don't have to book them if you don't want to. I can do it all for you. So, but for Wisconsin especially, because that is our biggest fair, if you are planning on working a service event, please make sure you fill out that form because we're going to start booking those this week. Thank you, Jamie. September 13th and 14th is going to be the Sandwich one. I think we may or may not have that booked yet. So appreciate it. And then any other questions? If it's anything with setup, I'll have more info for you in the next couple days. Same with tickets. Is there any other questions about anything else?
What's the goal, baby?
So that is part of our wrap up here. So I forgot to give you all a word at the beginning of the call, but that's okay. You all were on, which is great. But if you all could text me goals, plural, just to prove that you got to the end of the call here. And then also share, whether you're working Wisconsin, Missouri, or Sandwich Fair, if you could share your CPO goal for each fair that you're working. So if you're working one fair, great. If you're working all three, great. If you could text me your goal and then we'll add it together and we will come up with a goal. So really, and we have 15 minutes here, so I'll wrap us up here. And this is just a huge reminder to all of you when you're thinking about your goal. We have a huge opportunity in front of us. The next 6 to 8 weeks are the most profitable, weeks of the year. And, many of us are working, obviously all of us are working these 3 big fairs that we have on our team, but, some of us on this call are working Iowa State Fair and other state fairs around the company. This is like the time of the year to really hone in, all your skills and everything and make sure that you're doing your very best behind the booth. If you don't have your scripts memorized yet, or you're working on a new script and you don't have it memorized yet, like what the heck? Let's get them memorized. I told my event managers yesterday, if you don't have your scripts honed in and you're keyed in, ready to go, your script's useless. It's basically kindling for a fire, right? Grab those scripts and start memorizing them, get them going. I'd rather create flames with my booth results rather than, a fire with the paper that it's made of, right? So, nobody walks. This is the time of year where if somebody says they want to think about it, doesn't matter. They don't walk, right? Close everybody as much as you can, especially everything that we've learned on this phone call alone. And I know there's many other state fair calls that a lot of us are on, but it's use these skills to really help you and really practice these things. Don't just take the notes and say, oh, that was a great call, Nick. I'm not going to look at them ever again. I'd be looking at these notes, every day. I'm literally going to have these notes in the booth and I'm at a fair. I'm not at the fair right now. Caden's there for me, but I'm at a fair this entire week. I'm going to have my notes and I'm going to be reviewing these every single morning and in between turns with customers. So I can, start using these skills that we learned literally today. This is the time that we literally will be walking all over the national reports and we're going to be literally the best sales reps in the company and putting up the biggest numbers. If you don't believe that, why not? It definitely is what we are going to be, accomplishing, especially at these state fairs. And if you're at a point right now where you're maybe this year hasn't been the greatest, you're down from last year, people say, oh, it was post-COVID, so events were just better because of that. Oh, people were just spending money because everyone was just getting money. It was a lot easier to get money. Gas prices weren't like, $5 or $6 or $7 a gallon. Like, don't even worry about that stuff. If you're behind on what you were last year, this is the time that you're able to catch up. Or maybe you're doubling last year. Great. Keep it going. Or why not triple yourself from last year? State fair season is literally the most exhausting time of the year, but it's the time that we literally get to create whatever number that we believe that we can create. So remove all the limitations that you think can be there, any excuses that you're telling yourself, whether it's at a state fair or a county fair or a different event. Oh, I didn't have a good event because it was a bad event. It's like, well, were there people walking around? Oh yeah, it was busy, but nobody was stopping at my booth. Well, why not? Change up your display, make it better, engage people, talk to people in front of you. Are you the rep sitting in a chair waiting for somebody to come to you and buy an ultimate? Or are you physically out there grabbing people? I mean, don't actually physically grab people, but are you, engaging people to your booth? We create the sales, the shows don't. State Fair, Wisconsin State Fair. I just talked to Jonathan Parker. He was running a Chicago team, and he was a big part of Wisconsin team, I don't know, like 15 years ago. He's like, dude, in 2009, we sold 30 grand and we were stoked. 30 grand. We've had 60K days at Wisconsin State Fair. So just remember, it's not, and nothing against them, it was just, that those are big numbers back in the day, but just think about that. We're now on pace to do 300K for this year. And I think we can do 350. Missouri did 84,000. Thanks to Jerry's leadership for growing that fair over the years. I definitely think, that event can do over 100. This is going to be the year it gets over 100. Sandwich, same thing. Why can't it do 100? It's only 5 days, but why not? It's definitely going to do 75. But all these fairs are going to be massive. So remember, do everything you can to implement everything that we've learned today and on all the other calls that you are on throughout the year, throughout the summer. This is the time, have zero limitations, sell more than we thought we could be humanly possible. So LFG, let's fucking go. Let's crush this season. And I appreciate all you guys being on the call. Text me your goals. And if you guys need anything, let me know. Appreciate all of you and look forward to accomplishing new numbers and big things in the rest of the summer.
Talk to you later, Nick.
Questions. Otherwise, great seeing all of you.